So I'm going to tell you by law, military law and federal law, how Donald Trump, by law, by regulations, and by operations. Yes, I said it. I'm about to show you how Donald John Trump is still your president. It was not a secret. It was not top secret. It wasn't hidden. It happened right in front of every one of you. It happened right in front of your eyes. And all these other people out there, a lot of this stuff is called what we call optics. It was optics. So you're going to have to be able to step outside of your opinions, step outside of your livelihoods, step outside of whatever it is you believe. Military versus federal law. Two separate laws. The military has a total separate law than you civilians. Totally separate. So let's go back before I show you how is still your president by law. Not because of by law. Okay? Happened right in front of you. Oh my God, it's so beautiful. So, foundation. The Army was founded first, June 14th, 1775. Guess what was founded shortly after? June the 30th, 1775. The very first 69 articles of the Uniform Code of Military Justice, which is military law. The Navy wasn't founded until October the 13th, 1775, and the Marines came along November the 10th, 1775. Long before the Declaration of Independence and long before the Constitution. 12 years before the Constitution. So let me get to the meat of it. What you're witnessing, what every American has witnessed since January the 20th, 2017 is a covert operation. Now, I am not violating clearance by what I'm about to spill to you. This all happened via law. It all happened right here via law. So I'm not going to spill. I don't have to get into any kind of thing like that to reveal what happened right in front of you. You, the American, have a responsibility to research and read law and orders. Happened right in front of you. It happened right in front of you. So I'm going to break it down to you. Covert operation. It was never going to be told to you because Donald Trump, everything that Donald Trump said on campaign trail in 2016 every single thing has come to fruition. Every single word, every single law, every single order, everything. Everything has come to fruition. And the one thing he said, one of the key things that he said on stage one night, he said three different things, okay? This is very key. I sat with an old Marine recently, he was born, he's 84 years old. He was served in the 50s. And these people put he and I together. He hadn't been paying attention. When I told him these key words, his eyes lit up and he goes, "Oh my God, it's happening. It's happening." I was like, "Yes, sir, it's happening." And it was all started in your lifetime. And it's happening right now, right in front of everybody. And only me and you understand it. But it's up to me and you to relay to the people what's going on. Because the people need to know this. And the people need to get outside of their opinions and to sit back a little bit and listen to military of what's going on. Okay, so Donald Trump was on campaign. It was the time when there was like 25 Republicans running for president. And he's up there, and that was up on purpose. They had all those people on stage on purpose. Jeb Bush said, "Who's going to vote for you? Who's going to support you? And who's going to back you?" And my smart-ass man, President Trump, said this. He said, "That's a loaded question. It's more than one question. And if I have time, I will answer that. One, people are tired of bullshit politicians like you. Every one of you on this stage has been in office no less than 4 years. And every one of you gets up here and you tell the American people everything they want to hear, but you never back it up." Then he went on to say, "Who's going to support me and who's going to back me? I have over 200 generals right now backing me." That was a quote-unquote conspiracy theory made by the left for all these years. It wasn't a conspiracy theory. In the military, 200 generals have said and passed down to other generals that if they ever got a chance to throw a coup, a good kind of coup, and take over and reset to the foundation of America, that they would take this country back over and reset it on its foundation, which is also written in the Declaration of Independence. Because you people don't read out there. 99% of Americans aren't reading the things that matter and the reason why you're in America. Okay? So 200 generals said that. He also said this: we have it all, we've caught them all. Well, what did he mean? We have it all. We've caught them all. About to show you. They were never going to show you, because he also said on that stage this very critical thing. If you want to know what happens in the military, you can join. But never again will we announce to our enemies what is going on. Never again. We're not going to say, hey, Saddam, we're coming to bomb you. Hey, Osama. Never again. Never. Covert operation means there's a big operation going on behind the scenes that you, the people, had no clue about. You could have if you've been paying attention, had you known law, had you known regulation, had you known optics, had you known symbols. You could know, but we've gotten too lazy in this country for the past, especially 30 years, and especially it seems like the better technology gets, the dumber Americans get. And I'm also pissed for the fact that we have publications out there. You have Rumble, you have Telegram, you have a few others out there, True Social even, and none of these guys are telling you, the people, about law and regulations and symbols that were not secretive. None of it were secretive. It happened right in front of you by law. And I'm going to reveal to some of those right now. I'm sorry it's taken so long, but I had to set up the foundation of our nation in order for you to understand that laws. Our nation is a nation of law and order. But by law, the United States of America became a corporation in 1871. And throughout the years, you've had people try to misconstrue and blindfold you and tell you that Ulysses S. Grant went bankrupt in his personal life, but not the presidency, which is wrong. He bankrupted America. He signed a treaty of 1871. The District of Columbia became its own country. It is in the law books. I have every link known to man to .gov and the Constitution for you to read it. It specifically says in 1871 that the District of Columbia became its own country, not a state, not a city. It became its own territory. And in the military, we call it a foreign territory, which is why D.C. has its own National Guard. All by law, all right in front of you. Now, they did make it difficult for the average person to get on Google and go find these links because they didn't want you to know that. And you haven't known that all these years. 99% of you watching just heard that for the first time in your life. And you know, I'm not beating you up for that fact, but here's the other thing. 1871, guess what else happened? My attorney won't like this, but it's okay. It's a fact. 1871, guess what happened? The bar exam. They created the bar. Well, what does the bar mean? British Accreditation Registry. Didn't we fight the British to gain our independence? So why are our attorneys registering with the British Accreditation Registry? Donald John Trump signed probably the most historical and monumental piece of paper since the Declaration of Independence. It was executive order, and executive order is the highest law of the land because it's automatic order by the president. President Donald John Trump signed Executive Order 13848, September the 12th, 2018. Inside that order, he specifically issued a national emergency. He also issued maritime law, and he also issued an election fraud committee, and he put inside of there the dates of which they would correspond. How did Donald John Trump know to issue a national emergency and issue maritime law to go into effect on November the 3rd, 2020, which is inside that order? The specific date of November the 3rd, 2020 is inside the order that he wrote September the 12th, 2018. How did he know to issue a national emergency and to issue maritime law to go into effect 2 years before? How? What you need to understand what a national emergency is. A national emergency is when a president issues a national emergency, guess what has to happen by law? Also by law. A president, when he issues a national emergency or a presidential emergency, it must be addressed by that Congress. Not Congress 2 years down the road, not Congress 5 years down the road, that Congress. That Congress did not address any of his emergencies, much less the one he put in executive order. None of them did. Okay? That was all also an optic in a different way. I'll get to optics later, but right now I'm laying down the laws and the facts. Executive Order 13848 did all those things. Maritime law is the law of water. Okay? He issued maritime law. Well, you guys, if you go down to a car dealership right now, they don't have many cars on their lot. Why? Maritime law. The ships are at bay because of maritime law. President Trump's executive order specifically says no foreign goods will enter the United States of America by law. The ships have not moved. They're still there. And you Americans are so spoiled and so rich in this country. The poorest American is the richest anywhere else. You're so spoiled in this country. What you're witnessing right now as the warehouses deplete and they deplete and they deplete. As they keep depleting, the prices go up on food. Because why? Those goods are not going to enter the United States of America. Also because they're being guarded by the National Guard, which I'm going to get to in a minute. That happened right in front of you. Executive Order 13885. Donald John Trump spurred off. It's all optics. Everything you're watching via Fox News is fake. Everything you're watching via CNN is fake. It's garbage. It's all an act. Everything you're watching on any kind of mainstream news is being controlled by the military, which I'm going to show you how and why. But it's being controlled. Donald Trump signed Executive Order 13885, which is the National Quantum Act, the National Quantum Initiative. He also issued an act for it. He also has a few other things that back it called the National Emergencies Act. Okay, but it's called the Quantum.gov. You can go to it. You can click off here in a minute. Quantum.gov. Okay. The mainstream media and all your liberals out there call it the Q. The QAnoners. If you hadn't heard that yet, you will hear that. They call us the QAnoners. Well, why did Trump sign an executive order called the Quantum Initiative? Okay. And then he signed an act called the National Quantum Act. And then September 2021, who's president right now? Who do y'all think is president? Who really ain't by law? But the government website launched September 2021, quantum.gov. And on there, you'll see Trump's executive order, and you'll also see the Quantum Act. Executive Order 13959, signed November the 12th, 2020, right after the election. He signed an executive order that specifically said, effective immediately, January the 11th, 2021, 9:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, in an executive order, all that's written. Anyone who is funding the Chinese Communist Party, assets will be frozen effective immediately. And as soon as that happened, guess who stepped down? Bezos stepped down from Amazon. Warren Buffett left the Bill Gates Foundation. Bill Gates and his wife announced divorce. Mark Zuckerberg started dumping stocks. I have a link that shows you live stocks. Mark Zuckerberg has dumped stocks every single day since January 11th, 2021. He has dumped a stock every single day worth $25 million. Where were you? Where have you been? That's the question I have for a lot of you out there. Not you innocent people watching, but a lot of you who've been smartasses in my inbox. All right, GameStop also lost their rear ends. I mean, we can keep going. I mean, there's been over 1,300 CEOs step down. Over 1,300 CEOs since January 11th. Look at all the people who've been fired from CNN. You know, you're witnessing it, but you're not, you need to see the 40,000 view up like you're sitting in a plane looking down versus just every day. And some of you can't do that. You just got to look down and go, holy crap, look at all this stuff that's happened. All right. And the best one, Executive Order 13919. After Congress did not address Donald Trump's national emergencies and presidential emergencies, Donald Trump signed Executive Order 13919 on April the 20th, 2020. And in that order, he gave the Secretary of Defense full authority to activate the reserve components of the military. A lot of you don't even know what goes on one day in the military, much less the National Guard, much less the reserve components. We have never in the history of the United States of America activated all 50 states at one time. And it happened right in front of you. It happened right in front of you. It's exciting for guys like me, and I wish it was a lot more visual. That's my opinion on it. I wish it was more visual. I wish we were in military law. I wish we were in freaking full-fledged martial law for some of you. But at the same time, because many of you would not understand that, and you wouldn't understand some of the stuff you'd see, they've tried to control this, and they tried to stay back as much as they could and operate at a slower pace and control this versus coming full-fledged in, and a lot of you who don't even understand. So right in front of your eyes, you witnessed Donald Trump activate the National Guard to federal duty. By regulation and military law, the only person who can activate the National Guard to federal duty, they call it federalizing, is the President of the United States of America. And how and why did 99% of Americans sit and believe and even have a conversation with me that Nancy Pelosi, the dang Speaker of the House, activated the National Guard to federal duty? Get the you-know-what out of here. You should have been going, oh my gosh, this is freaking monumental. The president just activated National Guard to federal duty. And they stayed there till March the 3rd, 2021. They were there for the inauguration. But they stayed till March the 3rd, which was an optic. The original inauguration date in United States history was what? March the 4th. Ooh! Guess who's president? And not because of voter fraud. Because of Executive Order 13848, because of Executive Order 13885, because of Executive Order 13959, and 13919, in which he did. January the 6th, all of you were distracted, see? The Declaration of Independence specifically says in the Declaration of Independence that we the people have the right to alter or abolish any government that goes against its foundation and reset it up on what? The original foundation, which was what? Our revolutionary fathers who fought a revolutionary war and fought the British and kicked their ass, and we established what? A constitution. January the 6th was a setup. You're going to see it down the road. You're not going to see it right now, but you're going to see it down the road. So we have to reset that foundation. We have to reset it. And the military took control of this nation. January the 6th was a distraction. Okay? That was an actual constitutional process that our founders made. The founders made it to where you can't just vote for president on one day and go, okay, well, they're the president. No, they put all these extra steps in there. That was a constitutional process. Okay? And there was well enough proof for voter fraud. Because why would Donald Trump, once again, write an executive order with all these things in it, a national emergency, maritime law, and all these other things in September the 12th, 2018, that didn't activate until November the 3rd, 2020? That showed you right there they already knew there was voter fraud. They already knew in 2016 that Hillary didn't dump enough votes. Okay? They already knew that. These Dominion systems have been cheating Republicans and Democrats on both sides of the aisle way back. That's why Lou Dobbs got fired from CNN. way back in 2008. Lou Dobbs at Fox News, which he ain't even there anymore. I think he may be on Fox Business. He got fired from CNN for saying that way back, long before anybody thought about Donald Trump. January the 6th was a distraction for you. It distracted you. January the 6th, what really happened was Donald Trump's Executive Order 13919 went into effect when the Secretary of Defense activated the National Guard. But they didn't show up in D.C. until January the 17th, 2021. The other thing that happened via optic, but also something that only military knows, and also people have tried to misconstrue out there and take off the internet, is the gold fringe flag. Every day since January the 6th, 2021, the gold fringe flag has made an appearance. It is immediately behind every single person related with Congress and the president. It is immediately behind them in every angle and every shot. And it is very, very important. And every time I see that gold fringe flag, I know my boys are in charge, because the gold fringe flag signifies Admiralty law, maritime law, which was put in Trump's Executive Order 13848 way back in 2018 that didn't activate until November the 3rd, 2020. And those dates of that election fraud committee were this: 60 days after November the 3rd, 2020, 60 days brought you to January the 2nd, 2021. Donald Trump knew then that Congress was not going to do anything. So he had his Order 13919 activated 4 days after that date. And then go back to the Executive Order 13848. The 60 days, which brought you to January the 2nd, there were 60 more days to account for in that order from 2018. 60 days on to January the 2nd is what? Remember what I just said the original inauguration date in history was? March the 4th? March the 3rd, 2020 is when the second 60 days count was. January the 6th, Donald Trump activated the troops. They arrived in D.C. January the 17th, 2021. Over 40,000 troops. And they stayed there until March the 3rd. And all of you say, oh, I've had people go, well, they went back to their states. Yeah, but the order wasn't rescinded. You see, the order wasn't rescinded. But I have over 2,000 pictures in documents of our National Guard out of their own states and out of this country. They're still in operation. They're still in control. We had Israel in this country this week. We had Morocco. We had Canada. We had Australia. We had Germany. There's a German plane coming into America today. You have to be able to understand who our allies are. You have to understand who Trump made peace deals with in 2020. The whole 2020 year was a peace deal year. He was crowned the king of Saudi Arabia in an actual king ceremony in Saudi Arabia. The only way the state of Mississippi National Guard can operate in the state of Alabama or anywhere is for the president to federalize them. Governors have no control over that, except for state emergencies. Hurricane Katrina, 2005, New Orleans, Louisiana. That governor needed, I think, Alabama, Mississippi, Texas, and Arkansas. I'm not sure who else responded, but that governor has to go to the state general, adjutant general of Louisiana. And that general has to correspond with all those states that they needed their general or colonel. Sometimes a colonel can be in charge. But they have to correspond with each other. It's called a chain of command for a reason. And the commander-in-chief is the top of the whole military. Okay? So the biggest thing to understand, the biggest question I have, the most trouble I have with people is getting people to understand what optics are. And then understanding, well, why would they do this with ByeDen? ByeDen is an actor, first off. If you can't look at the pictures that I put on my storyline, 24-hour storyline, if you can't look at Joe Biden and the actor Joe Biden side by side and tell the difference, you need to go see an ophthalmologist very quickly. But it's called a Commonwealth Act number 671. The last time it happened was World War II, when Franklin D. Roosevelt issued a puppet to be in charge of the Philippines. while the actual president of the Philippines was in what they call exile, in control of his military and making sure his people were safe. This isn't some kind of power trip that Derek Johnson has. No, it's military law, military regulations, federal law, and the Constitution. Everybody should know this. Not because I wrote it, because it's what's happening. It's happening right in front of you. So you should want to read that. You should want to know what's going on, and you should want to go tell everybody, because what's going on by law is exciting. Okay, it's exciting. Especially if you're a God-loving, God-fearing, blue-collared, whatever you are in America. If you love America and you're a patriot, you should be excited about this. So you don't need to be spreading fear tactics out there and all these other things, okay? It's nothing to fear. It's like I told my mother when this first started happening. I said, look, when I get scared, you can get scared. And I'm not scared. I'm like Lieutenant Dan in Forrest Gump on the top of the ship, except I'm not yelling at God. I'm going, yeah, baby, let's do this. Because the military is in full control, okay? The hardest part, once again, is to understand what you're witnessing and what they're doing with the puppet ByeDen, okay? That's the hardest part for people to understand. As early as about 2 hours ago, we had about, probably 22 National Guard activated all over the country. They're all over the country. One of them was coming back from, I think it was Germany, okay? They can't do that. They just can't do that unless they're federally activated. And they have been since January 2021. So here's the other thing that makes Donald Trump president by law. There's two different things, two different scenarios I'm going to show you here, which is freaking awesome. Okay. One, the executive orders. Okay. Executive orders, the national emergencies, and the presidential emergencies. Then you have Title 10, Title 32, and you have the Stafford Act, you have the National Emergencies Act, you have what they call a presidential emergency document, a presidential emergency active document, a PED. That's what they call it. President Trump, the only person who can know what's in a PED is the president and the general. Now, the only reason I know that a PED was signed on November the 3rd, 2020, was the fact that everything else that happened around it. Everything else that happened around it showed me and veterans that know what's going on that a PED was signed, because to move it further and for him to activate all 50 states, a PED would have had to been signed, which is a presidential emergency active document. Okay, so a PED, and then also the sweetest one out of all this, that extended President Trump's powers as president, which is all in law. Every one of those that I just told you are all in law, first off, but is 47 United States Code 246, which is called War Powers of the President. Okay, and it specifically shows his power with active duty, National Guard, everybody. Okay, War Powers of the President. The last time it was used in United States history was with Franklin D. Roosevelt. The other thing that happened, that is so freaking awesome, what happened on January the 20th, 2021. By military law and by constitutional law, Donald John Trump received the full grade military and constitutionally regulated inauguration ceremony. And I'm going to show you how. Donald Trump, on January the 20th, 2021, was at Joint Base Andrews. All right. He exited Marine One, and this is how particular the military is. As he exited Marine One, on the fourth ruffle of Hail to the Chief, which means bum-pa-bum, 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 bum-pa-bum. On the fourth ruffle of Hail to the Chief, the 21-gun salute started. Okay? The highest honor of military. 21-gun salute. They do it for president and when you die. Okay? The band that was playing Hail to the Chief was the Presidential Salute Battery. They're also called the 3rd Infantry ID, also known as the Old Guard. They're the official Presidential Salute Battery. We're at Donald Trump's ceremony on January 20th, 2021, playing Hail to the Chief, okay, as he exited Marine One on a red carpet rollout, and on the fourth ruffle, a 21-gun salute started. He is the first president in United States history to leave D.C. to leave post 11:59 a.m. Eastern Standard Time on Air Force One. And also present that day on Joint Base Andrews was both Air Force Ones. There's 2 Air Force Ones. Here's the other troll. This is the best. This is so I love. Sometimes I do Joe Biden first, but it's just better to leave Joe second. So this is so freaking awesome. On January the 20th, 2021, Joe Biden was given and received a full-grade military regulation funeral service. It's so freaking hilarious. All right. All of the uniforms around Biden that day were non-regulation military uniforms, meaning Hollywood could have done a better job that day. The other thing by symbolization and military regulations, more specifically, outside of the uniform, the reason why the uniform is most important to me to bring up first is the fact that we die in that uniform. That's why everything in that uniform is sacred. Okay, that's why we don't wear them in bars or we don't wear them out. We're not supposed to because it's sacred. People die in that uniform. But there was a 3-gun volley. All right, they call that in the military a 3-volley salute. It is for military funerals only. There's 3 artillery pieces there, 2 for fire and 1 for misfire. They fired 13 rounds. Okay, you go to the chart. We actually have a chart you can go look up, 21, 19, 17, 15, 13. You go read 13. Well, there's 2 categories for 13 fires. Marine General or Rear Admiral. Well, we know he wasn't in the Navy. We know he wasn't in the Marines or the Army. So you go to the next category, which was Minister Resident. What is the definition of Minister Resident? A person who takes up temporary residence in a foreign territory. The only song they played all day for Joe Biden was not Hail to the Chief. It was Honors March 1. For Minister Resident, the only song out on the chart is Honors March 1, which is what was played for Joe Biden that day. Military regulation funeral service. Happened right in front of all of you. The other thing that just happened recently that everybody was inquiring about that knew about my documents is executive privilege and the raid on Mar-a-Lago, which if you'd have been listening to me and reading my storylines this whole time, you would have known what's going on. All this is optics. It's all acting. It's all a stage. Because if you knew law and if you knew regulation from Donald Trump's 4 years, and if you witnessed the National Guard activated, and you know what was going on, okay? But you don't. Find the key word in it. Executive privilege. The only person who can exert executive privilege is a sitting current president. Not a former president, not a past president. A current sitting president. That is United States federal law. Now, another thing I forgot about, real quick. Let's go back to the funeral service for Mr. Joe Biden. The other thing Joe Biden did on January the 20th was he swore in at 11:47 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, which is a violation of the 20th Amendment of the Constitution of America, which specifically says the president's term is to end and begin at 12 o'clock noon. I watch a flight app all day. Matter of fact, a while ago, the Doomsday plane was in the air, which is the nuclear protection plane for the president. It's been active about 4 times this week. The other plane, the first plane of this operation, I haven't seen it fly yet until yesterday, is a WC-135R Constant Phoenix, which is an aircraft that already detects nuclear explosions. It was flying out in the Atlantic coast, okay? Way out in the water. We also don't train out in international waters, okay? That's another thing that don't happen. Our aircraft have to have a reason to be out there. The other thing that happened this week, while I'm getting on the aircraft topic, is we've had 3 days in a row where 10 aircraft have flown into D.C. or over the White House. By federal regulations, the FAA.gov, federal regulations, the District of Columbia, not the White House, the District of Columbia has a 33-mile no-fly zone radius. We've had 10 aircraft, military aircraft, fly directly over the White House or by it this week alone. And I have many more documents showing aircraft over it. And also the old Pazaki, the former press secretary, the actress, told you April the 16th last year, she was live on her acting job. And, ooh, did you hear that? There was a plane directly overhead. Boom. That should have told you right there. Okay, so everything you've been watching is nothing but a movie. Okay? Somewhere down the road, you're going to be able to, especially when military tribunals pop up and you see everything come out, you're going to know that, holy crap, I thought my buddy Derek was crazy, but he specifically said everything about military law, military regulations, the Constitution, and federal law. Nothing I'm saying is an opinion. It all happened right in front of you. I'm just interpreting what happened for you by law and by military regulations, orders, operations, symbols. And there's a lot of it. I mean, I can keep going. The other aircraft that was in the sky, and I'm going to talk about next, is why Joe Biden also isn't president, is because of Gitmo. A lot of you have never heard of what Gitmo is. I remember telling a few people about Gitmo, and they're like, what is Gitmo? And I'm like, Guantanamo Bay. There's been 4 or 5 aircraft, one today, with the call sign Gitmo, leaving Mar-a-Lago area, headed to Gitmo. Okay? It's December the 29th, 2021. So this is past Christmas. This past Christmas, New York Times had an article, present tense, that Donald Trump, President Trump, said President Trump and the Pentagon are expanding. In present tense, it said President Trump and the Pentagon are expanding Gitmo by $500 million with more courtrooms and more space to hold thousands and tens of thousands more criminals. Joe Biden, in his campaign, he swore up and down and he told you he was going to shut down Gitmo. If Joe Biden was president, there ain't a thing that no one could do to stop him from shutting down Gitmo. By law, he has executive power to shut down Gitmo. Why hasn't he done it? The other thing he did that shows he's not president, 2 different things. He expanded Executive Order 13848. It would make no sense why a president who is being accused of voter fraud would expand an executive order that's going to damn him because of that. All right. The other thing he did, Donald Trump is the one who secured the $777 billion defense budget. Joe Biden said, I don't want to sign it. I'm not going to sign it. Why did he sign the defense budget? It wasn't a secret. If it was a secret, they'd be flying no radar every day. They wouldn't be flying where you could see them and track them. You wouldn't be able to do that because I know, I've flown blackout before. I know what that's like. So they would black out everything and I wouldn't be able to track it myself because I'm not active duty and I don't have active clearance. The original foundation and Constitution protected everybody as a whole. And then Marbury versus Madison specifically says, Marbury versus Madison, 1803, specifically says, any law that bears the statute of a law, if it doesn't back the Constitution, it is null and void. And we have plenty of crap on the law books that don't back up the Constitution. And so Donald Trump, when he issued national emergencies that didn't get addressed, then he issued presidential emergencies that didn't get addressed. Therefore, he had to take actions by the president, powers of the president, war powers of the president, and activate the guard and put the military in control. And they've been in control. They're still in control. Everything you've witnessed in the last 5 years is the most monumental, historical, covert operation to date. And Donald Trump, by law, by order, and by regulations of military and Constitution,
So many of you that want to talk about your cousins and your family that serve, you know, that's great. But, you know, if they're active, if they have clearance, they can't tell you what's going on by oath and also by honor. And it should be exciting to know that there's a covert operation going on behind the scenes, and the good boys are in charge. The good guys are in charge. And they're in full control, and everything's going smooth. And, you know, you should want to know that. It just baffles me that so many people are so like on edge for learning law and learning regulations and learning that the National Guard are in control of the country. See all that stuff happen, especially when you know that Joe Biden received a funeral service. It's the most ultimate troll move ever by a military and the president. Then to go over and see the fact that Donald Trump received a full grade, constitutional, and military regulated inauguration.
That is the best for the economy.